The sky above Varelia was clear, painted in soft shades of blue and gold. It was a peaceful morning on the planet known for its scholars, thinkers, and explorers. From one of the many silver towers that lined the capital city, a group of young aliens prepared for a journey that would change how they saw the universe and themselves. They were students from the Galactic Institute of Comparative Cultures, a school that trained young minds to study life across the stars. Their mission was simple: travel to a distant world called Earth, observe its people from afar, and report back with findings. It was a routine assignment, until it wasn't. Their leader was Professor Kyle Vornis, a tall, calm alien with pale, green skin and deep-set eyes that seemed to see more than most. He stood before the group as they gathered in the observation deck of their ship, the Starlight Voyager. "This will be your first field study," he said gently. "You've studied theory, history, and culture. Now you'll see it in motion." The students looked at each other with excitement. They had waited years for this moment. There were 4 of them. Tara Velen, curious and kind-hearted, always asking questions. Jarek Dillon, confident and sometimes too sure of himself, quick to judge. Lyra Mech, quiet but brilliant, fascinated by technology and data. Ren Solik, shy and nervous, unsure why he was even chosen for the mission. They all wore light suits made of adaptive material that could shift colors and textures depending on the environment. Though they wouldn't be landing on Earth yet, the professor wanted them ready. Earth is classified as a Class C curiosity, Professor Vornis explained. Primitive species, moderate intelligence, high emotional volatility. We are not to interact directly, only observe. "Why do we even study them?" Jarek asked, crossing his arms. "They're not advanced, they fight a lot, and they look strange." "They may seem chaotic," the professor replied, "but they have something rare: creativity, imagination, and unpredictability. That makes them interesting." Tara tilted her head. "What do you mean?" Professor Vornis smiled slightly. "Watch and learn." With that, the Starlight Voyager left orbit and jumped into hyperspace. Watching from above. After days of travel, the ship arrived near Earth. It hovered silently in space, hidden behind an invisibility shield so strong that no human technology could detect it. From the viewing deck, the students stared down at the blue-green planet below. "It's beautiful," Tara whispered. "It's small," Jarek muttered. "It's messy," Lyra added, pulling up data on a floating screen. "Weather patterns are unstable, pollution levels are high, and their population growth is erratic." Ren gulped. "Are we sure it's safe?" Professor Vornis nodded. "We're far enough away. Our drones will collect all the data we need." The drones deployed, small, silent machines shaped like spheres. They floated down toward Earth's atmosphere, scanning everything from cities to forests to oceans. Back on the ship, the students watched live feeds from the drones. They saw humans walking through crowded streets, talking on tiny glowing boxes, driving fast-moving vehicles, and sitting in large buildings where sounds came from screens. "Look," Tara pointed. "They gather in groups, they share food, they laugh. But they also argue," Jarek said, watching a heated exchange between 2 men outside a shop. "And some don't have homes," Ren added, looking at a person sleeping under a bridge. Lyra began collecting data. Their language is complex. They use over 7,000 different dialects, but their communication is full of contradictions. They say one thing, then do another. "That's confusing," Ren said. "It's fascinating," Tara corrected, as hours passed. The team noticed something unusual. Humans didn't just fight when threatened. Sometimes they fought for no reason. Sometimes they hurt each other for money or power. Sometimes they hurt themselves. "There's a high rate of self-harm," Lyra said quietly, "and suicide." "What?" Ren blinked. "They choose to end their own lives," she confirmed. "That doesn't make sense," Tara said. "No logic," Jarek agreed. Professor Vornis remained silent as he observed his students' reactions. Later, They watched a broadcast from a place called television. It showed a story about a war in a faraway land. People were screaming, buildings were burning, and children were crying. Then the channel changed. Suddenly there was a show about people laughing, dancing, and falling in love. "Wait," Tara said. "How can they switch so quickly?" One moment, they're at war, the next they're smiling. Lyra checked the data again. It seems common. They consume both violence and joy in equal measure. That's strange, Ren said. Jarek frowned. Maybe they're broken. But Tara couldn't stop thinking about it. Or maybe they feel things more deeply than we do. Lautaro. The first questions. As the days went by, the students continued their observations. They saw humans create amazing things. Music, art, stories, machines that flew through the sky. But they also destroyed forests, poisoned rivers, and built weapons powerful enough to wipe out entire cities. They build beauty, Tara said, and then destroy it. They have potential, Lyra noted, but also danger. They're unpredictable, Jarek said. That makes them dangerous. Ren looked worried. Do we really understand them? Professor Vornis finally spoke. No one fully understands Earth, not even those who live there. Tara turned to him. Should we keep studying them? He nodded. Yes, but carefully. She looked back at the screen, watching a child draw a picture while a war raged somewhere else on the planet. I want to know more, she said softly. A risky decision. One night, after everyone else had gone to rest, Tara stayed awake. She sat alone in the data room, reviewing hours of footage. She saw a man helping a stranger cross the street, a woman giving food to someone who had none, a boy saving a lost puppy. Then she saw a man yelling at a child, a woman stealing from a store, a crowd cheering as others suffered. She pressed a button and pulled up Earth's history: wars, revolutions, natural disasters, pandemics, hope, fear, love, hate, all mixed together. She recorded a short message into her log. Earth is not what we thought. Its people are not just primitive, they are intense. They feel everything, maybe too much, and they act without thinking. But they also create. They imagine. They dream. I don't think we can understand them from up here. Maybe we need to go closer. Just then, the door opened. It was Jarek. You're still up? He asked. She nodded. You think we should go down there? He guessed. She hesitated. I think we might be missing something. Jarek crossed his arms. You know that's against protocol. I know, she admitted. But what if we're wrong about them? What if we only see the bad because we're watching from above? He sighed. You're going to get us in trouble. She gave a small smile. Maybe. But I think it's worth it. The descent begins. The next morning, Tara shared her thoughts with the group. We need to get closer, she said. Not just with drones. We should go down there, just for a little while. No way, Jarek snapped. That's against every rule we've been taught. But what if she's right? Ren asked nervously. What if we're missing something important? Lyra looked thoughtful. Technically, we could deploy in disguise. Our skin tech can adapt to mimic human appearance. If we're careful, Jarek groaned. You're both insane. Professor Vornis entered the room. He had heard everything. He looked at each of them in turn. Finally, he said, This is dangerous. You must not be seen. You must not interfere. But, if you truly wish to understand, then perhaps you must walk among them. Tara's heart raced. So, you're saying yes? He gave a slow nod. Yes, but only for a short time and only if you follow my instructions. Excited and nervous, the students got to work preparing for descent. They chose a small town on Earth, Ashford, Colorado. It was isolated enough to avoid attention, but big enough to give them a real sample of human behavior. They adjusted their disguises, packed minimal gear, and reviewed Earth customs. Soon the small shuttle detached from the Starlight Voyager and began its descent. Below, Earth waited, unaware, unprepared. For the first time, alien eyes would walk among them, not as gods, not as conquerors, but as students, seeking answers, seeking understanding. But what they would find would terrify them. The shuttle landed in a quiet forest clearing just outside Ashford, Colorado. It was early morning and the air was cool. Birds chirped softly, unaware that something not from this world had just arrived. The hatch opened with a soft hiss. Tara, Phelan, stepped out first, her heart pounding. She looked around. Trees, grass, a small stream nearby. No one else. Behind her, Jarek Dillon followed, arms crossed as usual. "Still think this is a good idea?" he asked. "I do," Tara replied. Lyra, Mech checked her wrist device. "Atmosphere is safe, gravity is stable, we should be fine." Ren Solik took a deep breath. "I don't know. I feel like we're being watched." "You're always nervous," Jarek said. "I'm usually right," Ren muttered. They activated their skin tech. Their alien features melted away. Green, skin turned to pale or tan tones. Ears reshaped into human forms. Eyes became rounder. Hair grew in different colors. In minutes, they looked like 4 normal teenagers. Tara wore a simple jacket and jeans. Lyra kept her dark hair short and neat. Jarek stood tall, pretending to be confident. Ren looked around nervously, adjusting his hoodie like it might protect him. They walked toward the town, following maps on their devices. Ashford was small. A few shops lined the main street. There were cars parked along the road, people walking dogs, and children playing near a park. They reached the high school just as students were arriving. It looked like any other school from the outside. Brick. Walls, a sign reading Ashford High, and a field where some kids were running around. A woman with curly brown hair waved at them from the front steps. "You must be the new exchange students," she called cheerfully. Tara smiled. "Yes, we're from overseas." The woman introduced herself as Maggie Turner, an English teacher. "Welcome to Ashford High. Let's get you settled." Making friends inside the school, everything, was loud and busy. Lockers slammed shut. Students laughed. Music played through hidden speakers. Tara tried to stay calm as they moved through the halls. Their schedules had been prepared ahead of time. Each of them would attend different classes but meet during lunch. Jarek found himself sitting next to a boy named Ethan Brooks, who played football and seemed popular. "You're from another country?" Ethan asked. "Yeah," Jarek said. "We're learning about your culture." Ethan grinned. "Well, prepare for weird snacks and bad cafeteria pizza." Meanwhile, Lyra sat beside a girl named Claire Richards, who stared at her with sharp eyes. "You don't talk like most foreigners," Claire said. Lyra blinked. "What do you mean?" "You're too careful with your words, like you're hiding something." Lyra gave a small smile. "Maybe I am." Claire leaned closer. "You know what? I believe aliens exist, and I think you might be one." Lyra froze. Then she laughed. "That's a funny joke." Claire didn't laugh back. Over at another table, Ren sat alone until a quiet boy named Noah Carter joined him. "Hi," Noah said shyly. "Hello," Ren replied. They ate quietly for a while before Noah spoke again. "Do you like it here, so far?" Ren looked around. "It's loud." Noah nodded. "Yeah. But sometimes the noise helps forget things." "What do you mean?" "My dad left last year. Mom works 2 jobs. Some days I feel invisible." Ren felt a strange feeling in his chest. He had read about sadness in data files, but now he saw it in real life. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Noah shrugged. "It's okay. That's how life is." Strange behaviors as the day went on, the students began to notice more about humans. During gym class, Ethan and others played a rough game. They hit each other, tackled and shouted loudly, but then laughed together afterward. "That doesn't make sense," Jarek told Tara later. "They hurt each other and call it fun." They call it sports, Tara said. It's supposed to build teamwork. Seems violent, Jarek muttered. In history class, the teacher showed a video about World War II. Cities burned, people cried, soldiers fought. Afterward, the students talked casually, like nothing had happened. Tara felt uneasy. They watch suffering like it's entertainment, Lyra agreed. And they create stories where heroes kill many people and are praised for it. She pulled up a movie trailer on her phone. It showed explosions, guns, and people dying. At the end, a man stood tall, smiling. This is disturbing, Lyra said. It's just fiction, Tara whispered. But why do they enjoy it? Bali Mapres, the internet reveals. More later that night after school, the team returned to a small cabin they had rented near the woods. Lyra connected to the Earth internet using a local Wi-Fi network. Let's see what they really think, she said. She searched for videos, news, and social media posts. Her face grew paler with every click. There were clips of people hurting animals for fun. Others showed fights in schools. One video showed a man laughing while setting fire to a building. Why do they post these things? She asked. To show off, Tara said sadly. Then Lyra found military footage. Tanks, bombs, soldiers shooting. She gasped. They have weapons powerful enough to destroy cities, and they use them often. Jarek leaned over. This isn't just war, this is obsession. Ren looked sick. They don't even hide it. Tara turned off the screen. We need to report this. No, Lyra said. Not yet. We should learn more. A scary moment. The next day, during lunch, Claire approached Lyra again. I've been watching you, she said. You move differently, you speak carefully. And I saw you searching online last night. Lyra stayed calm. I just want to learn. Claire narrowed her eyes. You're not from another country, are you? Lyra hesitated. Before she could answer, a loud crash echoed from the hallway. Everyone turned. Two boys were fighting. One punched the other hard. Blood spilled from a nose. Students gathered around cheering. Stop it, Maggie shouted as she ran over, but no one listened. Tara watched in horror. They're enjoying this. Jarek crossed his arms. This is madness. Ren looked close to tears. Why can't they stop? Finally, teachers broke up the fight. The boys were taken away. Silence fell over the hall. Then someone laughed. The tension broke. Conversation started again like nothing had happened. Tara turned to her friends. We need to leave soon. We need answers first, Lyra said. Late-night doubts. That night, the team sat around a campfire behind the cabin. Tara stared into the flames. I thought humans were just primitive, now I'm not sure. They're dangerous, Jarek said. But they also help each other, Tara argued, like Maggie or Noah. Lyra sighed. They're both. They love and hate. They build and destroy. Ren hugged his knees. I don't understand them. Neither do I, Tara admitted. But I want to. Just then, a sound came from the woods, crunching leaves. Something was watching them. They all turned. Nothing. But the feeling stayed. They weren't alone. The next morning, the alien students met early at their cabin. The events of the previous day still lingered in their minds. Tara sat cross-legged on the floor, flipping through pages of notes she had taken. Jarek paced back and forth near the window, arms crossed. Lyra stared at her screen, eyes scanning lines of data. Ren sat quietly in a corner, hugging his knees to his chest. We need to find the pattern, Tara said finally. There has to be a reason for all this. What pattern? Jarek asked. They're just violent, unpredictable, and broken. No, Tara replied. It's not random. There's something deeper here. Lyra tapped her screen. I've been analyzing Earth's history. Every major human advancement is followed by destruction. She pulled up a timeline. Fire led to war. Farming led to kingdoms and conquests. Industry brought pollution and global wars. Computers connected the world but also spread lies and fear. They build something amazing, Lyra continued. And then they use it to hurt each other. Ren looked up. Why would they do that? They don't know how to stop, Tara whispered. Jarek shook his head. Then we should leave now before we learn too much. But Tara stood up. No. We came here to understand, and I think we're close. Done. A warning from home. Just then the communication device on the table buzzed. Professor Vornis's voice came through clearly. Students, report in. Tara pressed the button. We're safe, but we found something strange. I suspected as much, the professor said. Your reports have raised concerns among the Galactic Council. You must return soon. But we're not finished yet, Tara argued. I'm ordering you to come back within 2 days, he said firmly. Do not make me repeat myself. Theories? Line went silent. Jarek groaned. Well, there goes our mission. But Lyra was already typing again. He didn't say we couldn't keep looking until then. Tara nodded. We have time. Let's dig deeper. Searching for clues that afternoon, the team split up to gather more information. Tara and Ren returned to the school. They watched students during lunch, noting how some laughed while others sat alone, ignored. Maggie noticed Tara's quiet mood. You okay? She asked. Tara hesitated. Why do people act so differently? Some are kind, others not. Maggie smiled sadly. People are complicated. Some try to help. Others don't even realize they're hurting anyone. That doesn't make sense, Ren said softly. Maggie gave him a gentle look. Maybe not. But that's how it is. Meanwhile, Lyra and Jarek went to the town library. They searched for old newspapers and books about Ashford's history. Lyra found an article from 50 years ago about a factory closing down. Families lost jobs. Crime rose. The town never fully recovered. It's like a cycle, she muttered. Hope, struggle, collapse. Jarek flipped through another book. They keep making the same mistakes, Lyra nodded. And they know it. But they don't change. Back at the cabin, they shared what they learned. They feel pain, Tara said. But they ignore it. Or worse, they cause it. Ren frowned. Why wouldn't they want peace? Lyra looked at her screen again. Because they forget. They move on too fast, Jarek sighed. This place is a mess. Tara looked out the window into the dark woods. Or maybe it's a warning. Sinclair gets closer. Later that evening, Claire Richards knocked on the cabin door. Lyra opened it with a wary expression. Claire stepped inside without waiting. I've been digging into you for something's off. Tara tried to smile. What do you mean? Claire held up her phone. You don't show up in any official records, no birth certificates, no photos before last week. And your accents, sometimes they slip. Jarek crossed his arms. So what? Maybe we're just good at hiding. Claire narrowed her eyes. I think you're not who you say you are. Lyra quickly closed her laptop. We're just shy, that's all. Claire wasn't convinced. Fine, keep your secrets, but I'll find the truth. She left, leaving tension behind. When the door closed, Ren whispered, She knows something. We need to be more careful, Tara agreed. The hidden files that night, Lyra did one more search online. She typed in, Strange events in Ashford. One result caught her eye, a local blog post titled, Ashford was not always this quiet. She clicked. The article described a military base that once operated near the town decades ago. It had been shut down after a mysterious accident. Rumors said strange things happened there. People disappearing, lights in the sky, unexplained illnesses. Lyra's heart pounded. She read further. Some say the government buried something there. Others believe it was an experiment gone wrong. She showed the others. This might explain why humans act like this, she said. Jarek frowned. You think they were changed somehow? Maybe, Tara said. Or maybe they found something they weren't supposed to. Lyra checked the location. The base was still standing, abandoned, overgrown, but intact. "We should go," she said. Jarek groaned. "Are you trying to get us killed?" Tara stood up. "If we want answers, we have to see it for ourselves." Into the unknown. Early the next morning, the team took a hike into the forest. After nearly an hour, they reached the edge of the old military base. It was surrounded by rusted fences and broken signs that warned, "Danger, do not enter." They slipped through a hole in the fence and moved quietly toward the main building. Inside, dust covered everything. Papers lay scattered. Across desks, computers were long dead. But something else caught their attention. On the wall, faded words read, "Project Eden, Phase 1, Observation. Phase 2, Integration. Phase 3, Containment." "What does that mean?" Ren asked. Lyra walked closer. "It sounds like an experiment." Tara's eyes widened. "On humans?" Jarek backed away. "This is getting too weird." They explored further and found a locked room. Lyra used her tech to override the lock. Inside, they found files stacked neatly on shelves. They opened one labeled Subject 001, Human Behavior Patterns. Inside were charts, graphs, and videos, showing humans reacting to stress, fear, and conflict. One note stood out. Subject displays extreme emotional volatility. Response to trauma varies unpredictably. Hypothesis: genetic modification may have altered natural behavior patterns. Tara read it twice. "This isn't just study," she whispered. "They were changed." Lyra pointed to another file. "Look, it says Zalari influence confirmed." Ren gasped. "The Zalari were an ancient species wiped out thousands of years ago." Tara's hands trembled. "Could Earth have been part of their experiments?" Jarek shook his head. "This can't be real." But Lyra was already copying the files to her device. "We have to take this back. We need to know the truth." On fear and doubt, as they left the base, the group was quiet. Even Jarek, usually so sure of himself, seemed shaken. Back at the cabin, they reviewed the files. "The Zalari were known for seeding life across galaxies," Lyra explained. "They experimented with evolution, intelligence, and emotion." Tara looked at the screen. "What if they created humans, or modified them?" Ren swallowed hard. "Then we're not studying a primitive species. We're studying a failed experiment." Jarek ran a hand through his hair. "This changes everything." Tara turned to him. "Does it?" He looked at her. "Yes. Because if humans are unstable by design, then they'll never change." Silence filled the room. Outside, thunder rumbled in the distance. Something was coming, and the students were no longer sure if they were the ones watching, or if Earth was watching them. The storm rolled in fast. Dark clouds swallowed the sky above Ashford, Colorado. Rain began to fall in heavy sheets, turning dirt roads into muddy trails. Lightning lit up the forest like flashes from a war zone. Inside their cabin, the alien students sat in silence. Lyra stared at her screen, scrolling through the stolen files. Tara paced back and forth. Jarek leaned against the wall with his arms crossed, and Ren sat on the floor hugging his knees. They had uncovered something big, something that could change how the galaxy saw Earth. But they weren't alone anymore. Claire. Richards had been watching them, and now someone else was too. The first signet started with a knock at the door. 3 sharp raps. Tara froze. "Who is it?" No one answered. Jarek moved silently to the window and peeked outside. A man stood there wearing a dark coat and a hat pulled low over his face. He held a small device in his hand, scanning the area. "He's not from town," Jarek whispered. "That scanner, it's military tech." Tara turned pale. "They know we're here." Lyra quickly shut down her laptop. "We have to leave. Now." Before anyone could move, another sound came from behind them. The back door creaked open. Another man stepped inside. This one wore a badge. "Sheriff Cooper," he said, voice calm but firm. "You kids need to come with me." They were surrounded. Running for their lives, Tara raised her hands slowly. "We didn't do anything wrong." The sheriff looked at them carefully. "I don't know who you are or where you came from, but I've got reports of trespassing, hacking, and suspicious activity." Jarek clenched his fists. "We're just students." The sheriff narrowed his eyes. "Then why do you have this?" He held up a small metallic object, one of their tracking devices. Lyra's heart sank. They had left it behind at the old military base. "We found something," she blurted out. "Something important." The sheriff didn't look surprised. "I'm sure you did, that's why you need to come with me." But then another voice called from outside. "This doesn't concern you, Sheriff." A new figure stepped into view. He wore a black suit, no raincoat. His face was unreadable. "I'm Agent Reed," he said. "Department of Homeland Security." The sheriff frowned. "This is my town. I handle local matters." Agent Reed smiled coldly. "Not anymore." He motioned behind him. More agents arrived, stepping out of black vans with no markings. Tara's stomach dropped. These weren't local police. They were professionals, and they knew what the students were. The escaped Jarek acted first. He slammed his fist into the nearest agent's chest, harder than any human should be able to hit. Chaos erupted. Lyra threw a small pulse grenade she had hidden in her jacket. A flash of light filled the room and everything went white. Tara grabbed Ren's arm. "Run!" They bolted out the back door, slipping into the woods as shouts rang behind them. Rain soaked their clothes as they sprinted through trees and bushes. Branches slapped their faces. Mud made every step dangerous. Behind them, footsteps grew louder. "They're following us," Ren yelled. "They won't stop," Lyra panted. "They know what we found." Tara spotted a clearing ahead. She remembered seeing it on the map, a shortcut to the extraction point. "If we can reach the field," she shouted, "we can call the ship." Jarek looked back. 2 agents were gaining on them. He stopped suddenly and turned around. With a swift motion, he activated his wrist device. A thin energy shield formed around his arm. As the first agent lunged, Jarek struck hard, knocking him unconscious in one blow. The second agent hesitated. Jarek gave him a cold stare. "Don't try it." The agent backed off. Jarek ran after the others. The extraction point. They reached the field, breathless and soaked. Tara tapped her earpiece. "Professor Vornis, we need immediate pickup." Static crackled. Then the professor's voice came through, tense and urgent. "I see you. The Starlight Voyager is descending now, but you must hurry." Above the clouds, a faint glow appeared. The ship was coming, but so were more agents. Lights cut through the rain as 2 black SUVs screeched to a halt near the edge of the field. Dozens of men poured out, guns raised. "Freeze!" one of them shouted. Tara raised her hands again. "Please, we're not enemies." Agent Reed stepped forward, holding a strange device in his hand. "You think you're the first aliens we've seen?" he said. "You're not. We've known about your kind for years." Everyone froze. Reed continued. "We've studied you, learned from you, and now we take what we need." He pressed a button on the device. A shockwave pulsed through the air. Tara felt pain shoot through her body. Her disguise flickered, her true form almost visible. Ren screamed. Jarek fell to his knees. Lyra collapsed beside him. What did you do?" Tara gasped. Reed smiled. "Your tech isn't so perfect when exposed to Zalari energy, is it?" Tara's eyes widened. "You have Zalari tech?" Reed nodded. "Found it buried deep in the ground, just like you did. Bison, a last chance." The ship descended lower, its cloaking field dropping. A beam of light shot down, aiming to pull them aboard. Tara grabbed Ren and dragged him toward the beam. Jarek groaned, trying to stand. Lyra crawled forward, clutching her. Side Agent Reed raised his weapon. "No more running," he said. Just as he fired, a loud roar echoed through the sky. From the clouds, a massive shadow appeared. It wasn't the Starlight Voyager. It was something bigger. The ground shook, trees bent under the force of the wind. The agents looked up, stunned. From the storm, a second ship emerged, silver and sleek, with glowing symbols along its hull. It hovered above the field. A voice boomed from above. "Step away from the students. You are violating galactic law," Agent Reed cursed. "Damn it." Tara looked up, eyes wide. It was Professor Vornis. He had brought backup. Leaving Earth behind. The new ship opened its hatch. A beam of light swept over the 4 students, lifting them off the ground. They rose into the sky, leaving the storm and the agents far below. As they entered the safety of the ship, Tara looked down one last time. Ashford disappeared beneath the clouds. She thought of Maggie, of Noah, of Claire, of all the humans they had met. Some had been kind. Some had been cruel. All of them had been confusing, and now she would never understand them fully, not from the surface, but maybe from above. Back home. Hours later, the students stood before Professor Vornis in the main chamber of the Galactic Institute. They were safe, but changed. "You broke protocol," the professor said, his voice calm but serious. Tara bowed her head. "Yes, sir." "But you also discovered something no one else has," he added. "Earth is not what we believed." Lyra handed him a data drive. "These files explain everything, the Zalaria experiment, the modifications, the reason humans act the way they do." Vornis took it. "This will shake the council." Jarek crossed his arms. "So what now? Do we warn the galaxy?" Vornis looked at each of them. "That decision is not ours to make." Tara looked up. "Will we ever go back?" The professor paused. "Perhaps," he said. "One day. But for now, Earth remained a mystery, and the students had only scratched the surface." The Galactic Institute was silent. Inside the Grand Hall, hundreds of beings from different planets gathered. They came from all corners of the known universe, some tall and slender with glowing skin, others short and rough with scales or fur. Each one had studied Earth in some way, but none had ever seen it like the students had. At the center of the room stood a circular platform. On it stood Tara Velen, Jarek Dillon, Lyra Mech, and Ren Solik. They were no longer students. Now they were witnesses. Behind them sat the Galactic Council, a group of 12 powerful beings who made decisions for all civilized species. At their head was High Chancellor Zorath, a being of pure light wrapped in robes of silver thread. Professor Kale Vornis stood beside them, watching silently. Chancellor Zorath spoke first. "You have returned with findings that challenge centuries of belief," he said, his voice deep and calm. "You claim Earth is not what we thought." Tara stepped forward. "Yes," she said. "We saw things no one else has seen. We lived among them. We watched them build and destroy, laugh and cry, love and kill." A murmur spread through the hall. High Chancellor Zorath raised a hand. Silence fell again. "Then speak," he said. "Tell us what you found." The truth is told, Tara looked at her friends before speaking. "We believed Earth was primitive," she began. "A Class C curiosity, a planet of chaotic lifeforms with no real threat to the galaxy. But after spending time there," Lyra continued, "we realized something was wrong." She pulled up a holographic display. It showed maps, data and video clips from Earth. "Humans are not just violent by nature," Lyra explained. "They are unpredictable. One moment they act with kindness, the next they turn to cruelty without reason." Jarek crossed his arms. "They hurt each other constantly, not just in war but in small ways, words, actions, even thoughts." Rennie added softly, "And sometimes they hurt themselves." Gasps filled the room. Professor Vornis finally spoke. "This matches old records. Earth has always been an anomaly. Its history shows patterns of growth followed by collapse. Every major human achievement comes with destruction. One of the council members, a large insect-like being named Minister, Grok leaned forward. "You say this is not normal behavior?" he asked. "No," Terra replied. "Other species fight, yes. But humans do more. They create pain. They watch it, enjoy it, even celebrate it." She clicked a button. The screen showed clips. Wars on television, violent movies, online fights, people laughing as others suffered. "Their media glorifies violence," Lyra said. "Their leaders often rise through fear and conflict. Their history repeats itself over and over." Minister Grok's many eyes blinked. "Why would they behave this way?" Terra took a breath. "Because they were changed." Silence. Everyone stared. Lyra stepped forward. "We found proof. Deep beneath a town called Ashford, we discovered an abandoned military base. Inside, we found files about something called Project Eden." The screen changed. It now showed old documents, diagrams, and notes written by human scientists. "They knew," Lyra continued. "They knew Earth was not natural. They had found traces of ancient alien technology buried underground." Another council member, a floating jellyfish-like being named Elder Nivra, floated closer. "What kind of technology?" she asked. Terra answered, "Zalari tech." Gasps turned into full-blown shock. The Zalari were a legendary race, an ancient species that once seeded life across the galaxy. They had vanished thousands of years ago, leaving behind only ruins and questions. "Professor?" Vornis nodded. "The files suggest Earth was part of a Zalari experiment. They altered human DNA, enhanced their emotions, made them feel deeply, but also unstable." Minister Grok growled. "So Earth is not a natural world. It is a lab." Tara bowed her head. "Yes, and the experiment may still be running." Debate in the council. For a long time, the council said nothing. Then voices rose. Some argued for immediate action. "They must be contained," shouted General Korak, a warrior from the planet Draxos. "If they are unstable, they are dangerous." Others urged caution. "This is not our place," said Elder Nivra. "We cannot judge another species based on ancient interference." Minister Grok pounded his fists on the table. "We have ignored Earth for too long. If they are a failed experiment, we must decide their fate." High Chancellor Zorath raised his hand again. All grew quiet. He looked at the students. "And what do you believe should be done?" he asked. Terra looked at her friends. Each of them had changed. Jarek, once so sure of himself, now seemed unsure. Lyra, always focused on facts, now saw the deeper meaning. Ren, the most sensitive of them all, looked close to tears. Finally, Terra spoke. "We don't know what Earth is yet," she said, "but we do know this. They feel everything. More than any species we've studied. That makes them dangerous, but it also makes them special." Jarek added, "They create beauty out of pain. They dream, even when they suffer." Lyra looked at the council. "They might be broken, or maybe they're evolving. Either way, we shouldn't treat them like a threat." "Not yet," Ren whispered. "Maybe they just need time." The council was silent. Then, High Chancellor Zorath stood. "I will make the final decision," he said. "But know this. We have watched many worlds. We have seen civilizations rise and fall. Never before have we seen a species like this." He looked at each student in turn. "You have opened our eyes. For that, you will be honored." Then he turned to the rest of the council. "And Earth?" A long pause. Then he spoke. The decision. "The Galactic Council hereby classifies Earth as a Class A containment zone," Chancellor Zorath declared. Gasps again. "A containment zone?" someone asked. "Yes," he said. "Earth is not to be contacted directly. No interference, no communication, no travel." Minister Grok frowned. "That is not enough." "It is for now," the Chancellor replied. "We do not yet understand Earth. Until we do, we must observe from afar." He looked at the students. You have shown us the truth. Now we must live with it. Tara felt a mix of relief and sadness. Earth would be left alone, but it would never be forgotten. After the trial later that night, the students met in a quiet garden on Virelia. Stars glittered above. They sat together in silence. Finally, Tara broke it. I wish we could have helped them, she said. We did, Lyra replied. We told the truth. Jarek sighed. I used to think humans were weak. Now I'm not sure. They're strange. Ren looked at the stars. Do you think they'll ever know we were there? Maybe, Tara said. Maybe someone like Claire will find the truth someday. Lyra smiled slightly. Or maybe Maggie will write a story about it. They all laughed softly. Then, Professor Fornes approached. You handled yourselves well today, he said. Tara looked up. What happens now? He smiled. Now, you move forward. You've seen the universe differently. That will shape your futures. Yarrick crossed his arms. Will we ever go back? Fornes looked toward the sky. Perhaps, he said. One day, and far away, hidden behind clouds and oceans, Earth kept turning, unaware, unprotected, but not forgotten. Time passed. On Virelia, life returned to normal for most. The stars still shone, the scholars still studied, and the ships still flew through space. But for 4 former students, Tara Velen, Jarek Dillon, Lyra Mech, and Ren Solik, nothing was the same. They had seen Earth. They had walked among its people. And they had changed forever. Each of them took a different path after the trial. Some tried to forget. Others could not. And on Earth, unaware of what had happened above their heads, life continued as always. Tara's quiet watch Tara no longer studied in the halls of the Galactic Institute. She had left formal schooling behind and taken a quiet job with the Observation Bureau, a branch of the Galactic Council that monitored Class A containment zones like Earth. From a hidden station, far beyond human reach, she watched. Every day she scanned Earth's skies, oceans, and cities. She saw humans building new things. She saw them fighting. She saw them laughing, crying, falling in love, and losing hope. She kept a file on one person, Maggie Turner, the teacher who had been kind to her. In it, she saved messages Maggie posted online, stories she wrote, and even videos of her teaching class. She never knew, Tara whispered one night, watching a video of Maggie helping a student read. No one did, but sometimes when Maggie looked up at the sky, Tara thought she might have felt something, like she was being watched. Jarek joins the Guard. Jarek left the academic world entirely. He joined the Galactic Defense Corps, where he trained other officers in alien behavior and threat assessment. At first, he spoke often about Earth. They're dangerous, he told his recruits. Unpredictable. You can't trust them. But over time, his tone changed. He still believed Earth should remain isolated, but now he warned against underestimating humans. They feel everything, he said once during a training session. That makes them weak, but also strong. His instructors noticed how often he mentioned Earth in his lessons. One asked him, "Do you still think about them?" Jarek paused. "Sometimes," he admitted. "More than I want to." Lyra. Publishes the forbidden paper. Lyra stayed in research, but she broke the rules. She published a paper titled The Zalari Hypothesis, a study of Earth's genetic origins. It was controversial. The Galactic Council banned it from official libraries. Some called it dangerous. Others called it brilliant. But copies spread quietly across the galaxy. In her paper, Lyra argued that Earth was not a natural planet. It had been seeded by the ancient Zalari. Its people were not just primitive. They were altered, enhanced with emotion, imagination, and instability. We see chaos, she wrote, but maybe we are looking at evolution in a form we do not yet understand. She received threats. Some accused her of trying to open contact with Earth, but others sent her messages of support. You opened my eyes. one young scientist wrote. I've started studying Earth, too, another said. Lyra didn't care about the danger anymore. She had seen too much to stay silent. Ren disappears. Ren left Viralia altogether. No one knew where he went. Some said he joined a distant colony. Others believed he became a wanderer, traveling from world to world without a home. What little news came back about him was strange. He had been seen on small planets, helping lost travelers. Once, someone claimed he was living among a tribe of forest beings learning their ways. Another report said he had visited a moon where old ruins floated in silence. But one thing was clear. Wherever he went, Ren seemed to be searching for something, peace perhaps, or understanding, or maybe just a place where he wouldn't feel so alone. Back on Earth, life moved forward. Ashford, Colorado, remained a quiet town. People forgot the strange events of that stormy night, most anyway. Claire Richards never stopped asking questions. She wrote blog posts. She interviewed people. She followed every lead, but no one believed her. Until one day she found something. A letter, slipped into her locker at school. It had no return address, just a single sentence written in neat handwriting. You are not alone. You are not understood, but you are seen. Claire stared at it. Then she smiled. I knew it, she whispered. Maggie Turner taught English for many more years. She never married, never had children, but she touched many lives. One year, she assigned her students to write a short story. One boy wrote about aliens who came to Earth to learn about humans. They weren't scary, he wrote. They were just curious. Maggie read it carefully. Something in her chest felt warm. Later that night, she looked up at the stars. She didn't know why. She just felt watched. Noah Carter grew older. He left Ashford for college. He studied psychology. Years later, he became a counselor for kids who had grown up like him, alone, scared, and unsure of the world. He helped many. One day, he stood outside a school, watching children play. He remembered a quiet boy who had sat beside him once, a boy who had listened. He wondered if that boy had ever made it home. Watching from above back in space, Tara sat alone in the observation room. She pulled up a feed of Earth. Cities lit up the night. Planes flew through the air. Ships sailed across oceans. Life went on. She recorded a message into her log. We don't understand Earth. Maybe we never will. But they are not monsters. They are not gods. They are something else. Maybe one day we'll find out what. She closed the file. Outside the window, the stars stretched endlessly. Somewhere out there, the truth waited. And somewhere down below, a child laughed, a man smiled, a woman cried, and Earth turned, unaware, but not unseen, not forgotten, not yet.